All right, again, friends, welcome back to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Today we're going to do another custom battle series, continuing our custom battle series. And today we're going to do Aserai versus Khuzait. Of course, these factions are near each other in the southeastern corner of the map, and anybody playing Aserai at some point is definitely going to have to deal with these pesky horse archers and overall nasty Khuzait forces, right? Very heavy cav. I'm gonna try to show you today how I think one of the best approaches to dealing with them is. So first I'll set up the troop trees. As in all the other series of the custom battle, what we've done is we've gone through and clicked all of the single options that each side has, right? We want to make sure that they have all accessible horse archers, etc., except the peasants, except the recruits. We're going to choose kind of an open area here. Let's try this swamp. I've seen this before in Khuzait. It is open, but it's kind of a slowed down environment, and we'll see how much that affects things overall. So as the Aserai, I'm going to be focusing today on using their incredibly powerful palace guard. As you can see, we're outnumbered almost 30%. They have about 130 more troops than us. But today we're going to focus on using the Aserai palace guards, these incredibly powerful shock troops, and support them with other infantry to bring them into battle at the most opportune moment. I'll basically explain the formations as I set these up, right? We're going to have two different archer tranches, good-sized archer tranches. The Aserai actually have pretty good archer. The master archer has 2 quivers of arrows. Two quivers, that means they're going to end up shooting something like 50 or 60 arrows in the battle. Ammunition in a long battle is very helpful, right? Because that means they're sitting there the whole time shooting while other archers run out of arrows. In fact, at the series I just did on the Valandians, that's one of their weak spots, of course, is they run out of arrows, or I guess they run out of bolts with their crossbowmen. Now we're going to use our 7th cav, right? This is going to be a defensive line of cav, and our 2nd line of cav, that's going to be our upgraded Aserai Ferris, the stronger armored portion of their cav. The 3rd infantry, this is going to be our palace guards, and what I've done to try to bring in the most possible palace guards is set up you can go into these little plus buttons and basically configure the units so that you have a larger amount of certain types of units in each army group. So the 6th, if you can see up there, is sort of skirmishers. We're going to have the skirmishers and 1st infantry line sort of protect these palace guards when we come to blow with the enemy vanguard. Of course, for their horse archers, what we're going to be trying to do there mostly is occupy them with our cavalry, right? Our 2nd and 7th Cavalry. We'll also be trying to block some of their arrows with our shield wall cav. That's our 7th Corps. And then we do have a decent sized, looks like 36 horse archers of our own to sort of counter them. Admittedly, they have way more horse archers than us. But what we're basically going to try to do is hold our other positions in a defensive line, attack them with our 2 cavalry corps and archers, the 8th, and then pelt them with arrows from our 2 different archer divisions. So this is a strange landscape, right? It's kind of like a mix of little islands in the marsh here, and then shallow marshes that kind of slows down your troops, right? So that probably is a disadvantage for Khuzait. The more open the battlefield, the better, like a big flat terrain. The plains, of course, the plateau of China is basically where the Mongols started to really truck across all of Eurasia. When they dominated in the 13th and 14th century. That was basically wide open steppe with large areas of just nothing but desert and I guess yaks and shit like that. So this battle here is probably not optimal for Khuzait, but nevertheless we're going to play this out. So I'm moving my infantry lines in shield wall, right, because we're going to have thousands of arrows pouring in on us. On the right flank I have my 2nd cav also in shield wall. Early on, what we're basically trying to do here is have an archery duel. They have mounted archers. We have 2 different archer divisions of good strength, and our other divisions, our other groups, are basically in shield wall. I can see the palace guards all have their pitiful little axe at the ready, right? They're throwing little axes in. That's not really very beneficial for this fight. But these archer corps, we've got 3 different groups. They are beneficial. Very momentarily, I have the 6th charge because their horse archers kind of got too close to our cav there. Obviously, we don't want our palace guards getting too far, right? Too far spread out. I got to watch myself on this plateau, but otherwise it's a great spot to give orders, see the whole battle from. So the palace guards are shock troops. They are two-handed dealing massively powerful forces, but they're highly vulnerable. I got some cavalry up here I'll have to keep an eye on. It's kind of hard to give great orders and stand still because the enemy eventually homes in on you, but we'll do the best we can here. So again, their heavy cav is coming in, but our second cav is on the right there in shield wall, just sort of repelling the enemy attacks. They're throwing the occasional javelin, but we're still largely in an archer duel. The enemy has moved up its main vanguard of infantry a little bit closer. Our plan, basically, is to envelop their vanguard. You've seen me do this with other factions, but critically, we're protecting the palace guards there, right? Those palace shit. Well, this was almost an episode I didn't record. We'll see. Of course, this is the second episode I've filmed of this as well. I got annihilated early on by horse archers. I thought I'd be safer on this plateau, but maybe not. We'll try to survive here. We'll see how it goes. So my palace guards right there in the center are protected by that infantry line. Now they're getting shot from behind a little bit. It's not like they're totally weak to arrows, but you want to protect them from the bulk of the arrows here. So their heavy horse here on the right has kind of whittled down my second cav. Right? We're outnumbered seriously in this battle. Anytime those cav get close to us, though, I'm going to keep charging with my third corps. My third corps of the palace guards. There's also, I think, a tier 4 unit the Aserai has that also has a two-handed weapon. There might even be 3 tiers. I haven't looked that closely, but all 3 of those tiers of Aserai infantry have no shield and heavy. What the fuck are these horse archers doing here? I thought I told these guys to attack. For some reason or other, these guys are fucking following me. Get the fuck out of here. You guys are like, I don't know if they got separation anxiety or what. Go kill some people. So now what I've done is I've formed up my 6th infantry in a square. What I want is I want to move that square towards the enemy infantry, towards their main vanguard, and if they choose to engage it, we're going to engage with the 1st, which is protecting the 6th, excuse me, I keep saying 6th. The 1st is another infantry line of shields. Some of them have javelins. They're on the weaker side. But I'm going to have them protect as our shock troops then lead to the sides of their enemy vanguard and hopefully swallows them up, right? These wicked two-handed guys, kind of using this tree and my horse to defend here. I gotta be able to see, so I'm having a little bit of difficulty trying to survive and give commands here. Of course, you'll face that problem as well. So I'm advancing my square towards the enemy. I'm basically offering it like Lucy with the football. If you don't get the reference, basically we're offering it as bait to their vanguard, because if and when their vanguard takes this bait and attacks, our 6th is going to completely envelop them. In fact, in this case, I'm going to just march my infantry square right into the enemy's midst. On the right flank here, I'm going to position these two-handed shock troops. Right, we're just going to drag them around the corner. Right? I want these guys basically, as soon as they have the opportunity, engaging with these savage execution axes. Right, the enemy is now clearly distracted by the square, and so in go the 3rd. Right, these savage shock troops, they start waving their fucking giant axes at him, and that side of the flank is going to get devoured. Now, if you notice, we're taking arrow fire here, right? These guys are getting shot, enfilade fire by the enemy archers. So I'm now pulling the 6th out of that battle into shield wall and advancing them towards the enemy. I basically want them, you see them coming out there with their shields, I want those guys absorbing a lot of the arrows that might ordinarily get to our palace guards. Meanwhile, our palace guards are just, they're making hay, right? These guys are just fucking savage. They're just cutting their way through right now, and I just see enemies getting obliterated left and right. They look savage too, right? Like, you get hit by that axe and you'd be beheaded. So now I still have this 1st infantry, right? These guys are very tough. We're going to bring them up, we're going to bring the archers up, and we're going to effectively try to swallow the rest of the enemy lines here. We far outnumbered the enemy. Right? You can see from the top slider bars there, we went from outnumbered to outnumbering the enemy. I'm going to try not to get killed here at the end of the battle. Even if it auto-played from this stage on, though, we would still win the battle, right? We've got our infantry now pouring in on theirs. We still have cavalry alive. Well, okay, you're going to actually have to watch a little bit. I'm going to auto-play this. Normally I discard episodes because, look at the AI is doing stupid shit. It's backing up. If I was still playing at this stage, I would be advancing that infantry right into the face of the archers with those shock troops directly behind them. Now, it is positioning some of the shock troops behind them there, but I would consider this subpar strategy. When they have only archers, you attack. You don't stand back like they're doing and just absorb arrows. But I wanted to show you, so look at the death kill here. we killed 420 of their guys, and they killed 160 of ours to this stage, right? So now I'm going to auto-play the rest of it. Of course, they're taking a beating after they decided to stick back for a while and then approach the archers. Suboptimal strategy, but you could tell. We had almost 200 troops, and they had 100, right? This battle is over in our favor. And of course, what I would have done is just an all-out charge there, protect your shock troops, and pour into battle. So we're going to try another demonstration now. This is part 2 of this episode. We're gonna fight Khuzait in their home turf. Right, we're going to go to the steppe, something much more open. Again, they have almost 25% more troops than us, and we have a very similar setup. Right, we're going to have our archers in the 8th Corps, and we're going to have two tiers of archers in the 4th and 5th. Then, as before, we're going to set up the 3rd to be our nasty palace guards. Here's the difference, though. If you're in the wide open terrain like this, your palace guards need to be protected. So in this episode, I'm going to try something a little different. If at all possible, we are going to try to protect our palace guards with the 7th Cavalry. I've got these 17 cavalry. The key is that they're big targets. They're horses. They have shields. The palace guards will be able effectively to sort of hide behind the 7th, and I'm going to try to keep them almost reserved away in this battle until the moment is right. If and when the enemy vanguard approaches, if and when there's a moment I can attack their cavalry with the 3rd, we'll do so. Now look at the 1st, right? There's a lot of shields in there. And again, this is the 3rd, lots and lots of axes. And I want to tinker with these settings here until this is almost all axes, right? I want this 3rd to be like 99% axes. I don't want to see shields in that division, right? I want my shields in the divisions that are going to be in shield wall. This 3rd won't be in shield wall, of course. They will be hanging at the back. You want to have your units separated like this by using these little plus slider units, right? Now, the map is, again, very suboptimal for us. The Khuzait is going to come here on our left almost always, and they're going to have an elevational advantage on us as well. What I'm probably going to try to do here is slide around to the right flank. First, I need a horse. Give me your horse. If you don't know that, you can just order them off their horses and then order them back on. And like a sadistic game of musical chairs, those horse archers will get back on their horses, all except the poor fuck who the horse you took. So now if I order those 8th horse archers to attack, they all go rushing off to attack the enemy, and then there's one forlorn guy at the back who doesn't have a horse, who's like, what the fuck? What kind of commander is that? You just steal my horse. But nevertheless, I want to be on a horse for this battle. That way I can show you the tactics over this battlefield. So again, paramount that we get our archers towards the rear to counter the enemy horse archers. Unless you have a huge amount of cavalry, you must counter them with your own archers, right? You must at least fire a bunch of arrows into them. Optimally, you fire arrows into them while they're sort of stalled up, right? While they're stuck on your troops, or your cav is attacking them and they're sort of bunched up. But at a minimum, you must at least fire a bunch of arrows at their face to counter the arrows that are coming at your face. So they have more than 100 troops than us. This is like 25% troop advantage. And this is the big concern, right? They have, what is it, 200? It's like 200 and something horse archers coming in. And that is paramount that early on in this battle, we slow down that threat. So I'm turning my cavalry, turning all calves into shield wall. And at this stage, we're just kind of sucking the enemy in, right? We want to make a concentrated attack. We don't want to charge after them and have them run away. We want them to engage, so they're being enfilade hit by archers. Look at the arrows just raking them, right? They're getting obliterated. Meanwhile, our cavalry is charging in behind. And then as they sort of loop back and retreat, we can come in here and cut off a few heads. You got to be careful in here, right? If you see a guy winding a glaive up and to cut your head off, got to put your shield up. Now, you see how they're bunched up here? Bunched up horse archers are dead. They're going to get shot off their horses. They're getting javelins thrown at them by the thousands. It's going to be very, very beneficial for us. So I'm spreading out my archers again. You want your archers in loose formation. That way a lot of the enemy arrows hit the ground. And you can see I've got the 3rd way in the back here. The 3rd, again, is my heavy shock troops. Those are the ones that I plan to protect here with our 7th. So I'm bringing our 7th cav. I had them up at the beginning just to sort of deter enemy cavalry charges. We're now bringing our 7th, and this is the weakest cavalry we have, but most of them have shields, right? So we're going to put them towards the back of the map, and we're going to park our 3rd infantry right next to them. It's basically, we're mitigating the weakness of these troops by giving them a bodyguard. You can think of it that way. Right, again, we're sort of chasing the horse archers off here, but look at the screen, right? There's a lot of horse archers dying, right? This has been a very bad exchange for them. I mean, definitely one of the best counters to horse archers is simply slowing them up, deterring them with your own cavalry, while your archers just rake fire. Let's try to punch a few guys here. Yeah, see, they bring out the glaive, you just pull that sword up, or that shield up, I apologize, and you know, it puts to bed. I mean, they're raking us with arrow fire right now. Oh shit, their cavalry. Yeah, this is their cavalry. They're just charged our 7th cavalry. Wow, that was a death sentence for them. That was very poor tactic. We just charged with our 3rd. So they basically just charged the lion. They charged this 7th cavalry back here, so we'll take advantage of it. I just told all these foaming at the mouth 3rd infantry, these shock troops, to kill, to charge, and they just massacred like 3/4 of their heavy cav. Now, that was very bad idea by the enemy, but perhaps they were baited in by between the archers and that weak 7th cav back there. So the infantry's coming in. You can see their infantry's coming in against the main square, right? Our main group of square. We pulled our other troops to the right, and now we're advancing, right? I've got these nasty palace guards pouring in, and they're largely protected, right? They're behind infantry, their own infantry, and they're behind the enemy infantry, and they're just wailing away with their 2-handed axes, right? Meanwhile, a lot of the enemy vanguard is piled up here on the square. Well, the next thing you know, these guys are gonna have angry executioner axes right in their spine, right? These dark hands. These guys are getting shot. They're getting kicked, and they've got palace guards wailing away with their 2-handed weapon. So in this case, we got to show you both the destruction of the enemy heavy cav and their main vanguard, all by the same unit, right? This incredibly powerful. I can't position. I'm trying to move up troops in shield wall because now we need to rush their archer corps. I want my palace guards behind and the rest of the troops in shield wall. So one of the things I'll do is I'll send these guys in shield wall and then tell my 3rd infantry, which is the palace guards, follow me. And by doing that, I can control where they go, right? I've got my shield walls in front. The archers have no choice but to shoot the shields. They can't even get to our palace guards, and we're marching behind with this death invasion. The enemy's retreating. It looks like they're trying to kite us. That's just not going to work. At this stage, they have no infantry. We massacred their infantry, and a lot of their heavy cav died when they foolishly decided to charge our 7th and 3rd Corps. So you see my palace guards. I keep saying, follow me. I don't want them taking arrows to the face. I want these guys with shields plowing the road for us. And I just want these palace guards right behind me. Now, this battle's already over, but I guess I'm showing you what I would do if there was still a huge contingent of the enemy to face, right? You would lead with your shield wall, and now these palace, look how fast they're running, too. People sometimes comment on how fast my troops run in battle. I think this hero has a banner that increases their foot speed, because look how fast those fucking guys charge in battle. And at this stage, this battle is a formality, right? The enemy is retreating. You can tell by the top bar that they don't have many troops left. It's mostly cons guards, like their toughest units to kill. But this was an absolute massacre. We're on the enemy's home turf, right? We're playing on the steppe. We're playing in this wide open terrain, which should be optimal for Khuzait. We have something like 100 and something units less than them. And again, we have very similar army makeups as far as quality of troops. Both sides have elite troops like these cons guards, and both sides have some weaker troops as well. But we use tactics. We protect our lethal 3rd Corps. It's an example where we have this incredibly powerful unit of destruction that needs to be protected. So we did protect it early on. Obviously, we used the 7th Corps. We kept them back. And then when it came to blows, we made sure that they weren't eating arrows. Look at, they're still, look how fast they're moving. They're like foaming at the mouth, running around. A lot of people, when they watch my game, they kind of, to a lot of people, it seems like I'm cheating or using cheat codes or something like that. No, folks, there's just banners you can use. If you don't know about banners, I'm not really going to do an episode on that. That's very basic Bannerlord level stuff right there. But you can get banners that effectively dramatically increase the strength, speed, accuracy, etc. of your troops. So these guys, you turned into Usain Bolt carrying around a fucking, a giant battle axe. Not something you want to face on the battlefield. So we're just kind of mopping up. But again, to recap the tactic of this, I'm going to do a few more videos of the Aserai. I intend on having a campaign eventually. Some people have expressed interest, and I don't know if they watch every episode or every action of the campaign, but if I do it at some point, it'll be another campaign where I run sort of a mercenary brigand, sort of a nasty pirate group of forces with the Aserai. I'll be a mercenary for the Aserai. So I'm going to do some more tactical series with the Aserai. I find it a lot of fun. I love their savage two-handers. Let me know what you think of this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. All that good stuff. And I will see you friends next time.